Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to the finale episode of the Business of Influence podcast. My name is Leo Mark.
And I'm Tammy Rashid.
And she's back. She's back.
Have you missed me?
We did. You know, it was so hard
It's been
with
a
you being
while.
on holiday and us working and slogging away. But the real question is, what did you bring us?
Gosh.
So you went to Miami, right?
I
and
did.
You know what happens with black people, right? When we go like anywhere to the coast, we must bring back water.
Yes,
Seawater.
I do know that.
So did you bring us a 2
I
liter?
did not.
You
I'm
did-
so sorry.
Wow, this is going to be a very awkward episode, and that's going to hurt a little bit, but we'll try and
I
soldier
think they
on.
would have stopped me at customs, though.
Yeah, there is a bit of a thing about going across the Atlantic with water in 2 liter bottles. But we're so glad you're back.
Thank you very
It's
much.
been amazing. We saw your trip. We were so
Thank
jealous.
you.
But you're back
and well
home now.
done on all the previous episodes.
Yes, we handled the
They've
fort.
been power.
We held on. We made sure everyone was doing what they needed to do. Savon also came in and she did all her work. But today is the final episode, Tam.
Can you believe it?
Yeah, we've been working all season long trying to, get all the information out.
It's been a lot.
It's been a lot, and we've been delaying this episode so much because it's such a deep episode
I
that
know, I think I'm nervous.
because we know nothing about it, right? We're not sure exactly how like this part of the world works, and that's why we're so happy to have Stephanie, who's joining us via video link. Gomez, hello, Miss Gomez.
Thanks for joining us, Steph.
You look so pretty. This is the whole thing, right? Because we're doing all AI and artificial intelligence, we had to get like a digital, have her in the studio digitally because it can't be there in person.
Absolutely,
It
absolutely.
just wouldn't make sense.
Are you going to do an intro?
I want to do an
Steph?
intro. I want to do an intro to Steph. Hi, Steph. So Steph is a full stack developer. And Steph, and I asked you earlier on in the call what a full stack developer was, you said? So what does a full stack developer do, Steph?
A lot of programming, a lot of coffee, sitting around. I look like me from sitting at my desk the whole time. But basically, what I do is I just build digital solutions for Style ID. Currently working on their new website, and
We are super excited to launch this. So stay tuned.
No, we can't wait. So you do more than web development, right? You do like a whole suite of stuff. And you're the right person to chat to today about AI. But maybe let's go back one step, Tammy.
Sure.
We've been discussing this like all season long. It's been
Correct.
hinted in other episodes as well. Let's talk about why it's so important for us to even have this conversation about AI. Because even when we were doing like the preparation for the season, we were chatting already about AI, where it's going in the world.
Yes.
Why AI? Why should we even bother about it in our community? Because it sounds like something that happens all the way there in the ether.
Well, that's the thing, is that even though the perception is that it happens all the way in the far-ended side of the universe, it is very much relevant. I think it's a scary topic.
It really is.
And for the industry itself in so many different ways. However, one always has to stay innovative. One always has to stay on the pulse and on trend. And I think today we're going to learn so much from Stephanie in terms of what we are actually capable of doing. And for so many people, be it individuals, businesses, influencers, it's a perception of, well, is AI taking over?
What's happening with AI?
Is AI taking over my job?
Yeah, and we all see it like in these little AI sort of chatbots that are coming out. We're not sure what it really means to be AI because we haven't actually realized how far the scope is. So maybe Steph, let's start there. What is artificial intelligence?
well, artificial intelligence, or AI for short, is an evolving technology that enables computers and machines to simulate what human intelligence is.
Okay.
It's able to problem solve. It learns from data the same way that we do, the same way that we learn. It uses reasoning and it makes those decisions, and it also self-corrects. So it basically embodies a human brain, it mimics that way that we think.
I think so many people are going to ask, but how?
Yeah, because
You
how?
know,
I'm one of them.
And from my understanding,
Yeah.
obviously it's a type of technology.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how granular Stephanie can actually go in terms of what is this technology. Yes, it can, we have the definition of AI and artificial intelligence, but where does it even stem from?
Yeah.
And how does it work?
Yeah, I think that's the real question, Steph. You make the distinction that it reasons like we do, and takes the data. How I reason like a human being? It's not human. So how does it, take the data and reason, as you say?
Basically, it works on computer algorithms.
Okay.
So train these models over a specific amount of time,
Mm.
interpret certain decisions. So this is very decision based, and
Mm.
it's being fed data to understand and evolve itself. So
Mm.
up, correcting itself and learning a lot from the data that is provided.
Mm.
It was really a trial and error thing to begin with.
Ah.
Um, but then we started learning that, with these compute progresses, we were able to, create something that was able to learn from those data structures and say, okay, I'm going to build something new from it. Or I have a certain understanding of it.
Mm.
And that has
Sorry, I
caused
have a silly question. Where's this data coming from? How does
It mine the data.
mine the data?
It's a very controversial topic because a lot of people have a debate on whether it's ethical or not.
Okay.
Got you.
We will take AI generated images. What kind of imagery is being fed to these AI machines to help it learn, to help it identify? An AI knows that something's an elephant, but why? It's because we told it that it
It's
is.
an
So
elephant,
it's,
yeah.
build this concept of an elephant because we have showed it so many pictures, but where has it come from? It has obviously come from
Correct.
that I've taken photos of these elephants in the wild.
Mm.
And the same goes for a lot of artwork. That's why a lot of people say that it's not ethical because,
Mm.
AI would absorb, information and artwork from other artists who have put in a lot of work into their stuff. When you look at an artist's work, you can say they created that. But an AI won't have that sort of pattern to create the same things over and over again unless you teach it. And that way, we have to train it on models of artwork to be able to have that understanding of how it should work. So a lot of people say
Sure.
happens with copyright and everything.
Yes.
I mean, I can see the legal implications being very wide ranging because
Mr. Lawyer here
yeah,
has
because
got his brain
it's just buzzing because when you say that, where do we get the data from? And that's the question we ask, right? We get the data from the internet, we get the data from big data, wherever it sits, and then we start teaching it how to sort of work. And I'm enjoying that because now the real question is, how do we source the source material to actually give to the AI to learn?
Yes.
Do we have to then sort of almost like copyright lock things so that they're not able to be mined, as it were, as part of the learnings for the AI? So I think that's fascinating. Yeah.
Fascinating. I mean, Steph, can you give us insight into the legalities around AI? Is that way too complicated?
Well, I mean, I think you've already alluded to it by talking
Yeah.
about where we get the information from. But I mean, there seems to be many ethical questions that need to come from that. How
Maybe
many?
part two.
Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe for part two.
I think for now, let's chat about how you feel AI is shaping the world as we know it, and the future, perhaps where it's going. But how do you feel it's shaping the world today?
Well, it is transforming various parts of our lives, and industries alike. The tasks that it can perform would otherwise be human intelligence or intervention that is needed for those stuff.
Okay.
Okay.
Example, like if we see in retail today, we've got customer service chatbots, we've got
Yes.
virtual assistants
Mm.
like Amazon's Alexa, for example, or
Yeah.
Siri, Google
Yes.
Assistant. All of those things are taken over by AI because it makes frequently asked questions a lot easier to manage. There doesn't have to be a lot of, people working in customer care to get back to these people on certain things like products, for example. So a lot of those things are being taken over by these chatbots and these virtual assistants to help with the workload.
So
Even
you would
in
say it helps with processes and streamlining of certain aspects to make things quicker, faster, more efficient.
Yes, absolutely. It really helps with the redundant tasks or the repetitive tasks.
I think
Um,
I think, Steph, you made a point that it does the stuff that human intelligence or human intervention would need.
Yes.
And I think what we people who are sort of novice in this in this industry we're worried about is that AI will have superhuman intelligence. It'll be intelligence that supersedes our intelligence, and so it would be able to do things that we cannot do, and that's why we're worried about our jobs. But I appreciate when you say it's not that it's smarter than a human being. Yes, it might be more efficient, but it just does the things that I should not be bothered to do.
Correct.
Which
correct.
then leads me to my next question. When we start looking at the world generally, where are we seeing AI popping up? I know that, for instance, when we talk about machine learning, how you drive your car and how your husband drives your car are two different ways of doing it, right?
Yes.
And you can then have an AI in the car to figure out, okay, Tammy is seat position,
Well, let
throttle
me
response.
just tell you something, guys. When we were in the States now, we got to experience driving in a Tesla.
Okay. How was that for you?
Actually quite freaky.
Yeah?
Because the driver does not have to drive. You can literally just sit there. And every 2 minutes, I think you have to touch something to let the car know that
I'm
you
awake.
that you are there. But a relative of ours literally drives to work and watches Netflix. And
I'll be so confused.
it's mind-boggling. So, Steph, that's AI, right?
Yeah, that's AI. I mean, if you think about it, once that evolves, it will be perfect for us. It will
Okay.
help reduce accidents. It will, because a lot of the accidents are caused by human error. What if we were to,
Yes.
what if we were, if it was so perfect, it would actually, improve traffic efficiency. We wouldn't be trafficked every day.
It is
You know,
so scary that, and even just the car changing lanes
Yeah.
is frightening. The speed of the car is
Yeah.
wow. But the way we got to experience that and the human element was taken away of physically actually driving
Yeah.
the vehicle. Feel like we're going to the Jetsons.
And I feel like what happens when we start looking at those sort of, and you said, this is where human intervention or intelligence would have been needed, where you and I drive every day and we're making decisions all the time. Do I turn left? Do I accelerate now? Do I change lanes now? All of that data input would then be able to be efficientized, if that's a word, to be able to do things in the optimum with the artificial intelligence. But how different is that then from what we've had for a while called machine learning? Because we thought that was the next frontier before the AI came along.
well, machine learning is basically the science behind how AI is created.
Okay.
How we've discovered that AI can learn and improve based on data that it's been given.
Okay.
Yeah, so once we start talking about machine learning, over time we've also it's very minimal programming, which is
Okay.
fantastic. But it's only because once we've established like a base ground from it, it will just have computations that would work and take this information and build onto it. So it's not something that you have to intervene, where programming has always been so simple. You would have to, if you want to write something, you need to get the computer to understand that you want to write something. AI will know that you are doing that, or the next steps. So there's very little instructions that are given.
Got you. Leroy, have you experienced it, like, besides, let's say, your ChatGPTs? How are you incorporating AI into your daily life?
So I've got 3 places to be. So I do a lot of automotive work, Stephanie, where we do a lot of sort of advanced driving and those kind of things. And I don't realize that how many of the new vehicles come out with some level of AI.
Got you.
So for instance, what you're talking about with Tesla and the automation of the driving, and I'm so glad you made it, because they don't have a really good history. Let me tell you that. So I'm glad it wasn't a Cybertruck, because
My
probably
kids were fascinated.
because it's so crazy. Because I can tell you what they're doing now is that there's levels of autonomy, right, with the driving.
Yeah.
So there's Auto 1, Auto 2, Auto 3, and whatever. And Tesla, at least the Model Ys and all of those, are sort of at like the top level of that. But you're having it now. Your car has a camera in the front,
Yes.
which tells you how far you are from the wall, but also starts scanning the road, starts seeing the broken lines and keeping you in between,
Yes.
figuring out whether or not you're sleeping or not. When we start getting into sort of advanced driving and automation, we start being able to tell what the road surfaces are and how much corrective steering you need to input. So
have
for
you
instance,
experienced this?
yes, I have. So what you do when you're driving is you see something happening, like it happened to me yesterday, which is a story for another day, where you're driving and you see an obstacle in front of you. The natural reaction is for you to turn hard.
Got you.
If you're driving too fast, you're going to roll the car.
Yes.
So what it does is that it allows you to turn hard, but it doesn't give the wheels the corresponding amount of force. So your car is already working out that at the speed that you're traveling and where you're traveling, this is not a good idea.
Okay.
So it's already putting in systems in place and preemptively putting systems in place so that if you do override and go too far, what systems are needed, which airbags are needed,
Yeah.
etc. Yes, Sabon. Yes.
No, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Oh, okay, cool, perfect.
No,
Cool.
that's fine.
Cool. So I'm just going to pick up from the car then. So we are experiencing it, but when looking at content creation, I'm learning when we were doing a particular campaign, I said to you, I was shooting outside.
Yes.
And I didn't realize the level of noise that was happening in the background. And I couldn't reshoot. I just didn't have, I couldn't get back to the venue. I didn't have the crew anymore.
Yes.
I've got the footage and this is all I could do. And I had to run the footage through software that was able to not mimic my voice, but to almost finish the sentences where the noise was too high, if that makes sense. So the sound was laid out.
Yes.
The parts that were clear. And I had to, it then worked out how I speak. And then it then filled in the gaps where I needed to fill in.
And how was the final edit?
The final edit was fine because it didn't sound too far from how I speak.
Okay.
Because there was enough speech, as you say, Steph, where there was enough data for it to figure out how I speak.
Got you.
But there was a whole thing where I had to like say 1,000 sentences about, as you do when you configure your Siri, say the window is closed, say the dog jumped over the roof.
Correct.
So for me, that's very interesting. But let's maybe look at it in a different way.
From the digital marketing
From a digital marketing point of view, I mean, so Tammy, you start us off. Let's just do a recap of what digital marketing is so that we know what we're chatting about. And then maybe, Steph, you can tell us maybe some of the ways that AI is sort of being seen in that particular space.
Well, we're just going to be referring to all the aspects of marketing in the digital space, be it your social media, any aspect of digital marketing, content marketing. So I think what we want to know from Steph is how agencies and or influencers and even brands would be able to utilize AI in their digital marketing.
Right. So A lot of their digital marketing content creation can be created by AI themselves. Their social media posts, and also to receive reports, data insights, all of that stuff
Mm.
can be streamlined
I
with
think that's
AI.
very key.
Yeah. But not also that, when they are working with optimizing their targets by when they predict their customer behavior and the
Oh.
trends, AI can actually target those individuals to say, I enjoy this because they predict the customer's behavior. The same way that you could be speaking about wanting to order something that you like, a new outfit, or even something as, you know, um, something like a carpet, for example, something that is not bought every day.
Yeah.
I would start recommending you these carpets. Decided, this is what the consumer wants. And then a lot of brands and stuff would have their ads shown up on your page. And that's what it does. That's what AI tailors these ads for you, these trends. So it's all personalized content and
Very
recommendations.
personalized.
And that's amazing that AI can do this, because we wouldn't know how to target those individuals
To
based
that
on what.
extent.
I'm so interested in the data being the beginning point of the AI, or the intelligence of the AI, means that there's group data, so the data that we have as a sector, as a community, as whatever we are, whether we're content creators, whether we're doctors, whether we're lawyers, whether we're women, whether we're men, we all sort of search the same things.
Yes.
And so there's that mining, there's being able to, write an essay around, or I don't know, digital marketing in 2017, and being able to, that data being available, and then AI being able to answer the question opposed to it. And then there's the individualized data, which is what you're chatting about now, about being able to optimize the brands, gathering the data of a group or a particular kind of people, and then being able to direct them,
And personalize
and
it.
personalize it. Because we had a conversation when we were chatting about paid media, and a big issue about paid media is working out a demographic.
Yes.
So that you're able to, send.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So for me, it's like almost interwoven that now that the media that you put together and you're ready to give out to the people, you're able to almost specialize it so much that you almost bridge the delay gap between seeing data and actioning it, whether it's buying the carpet, Stephanie, or enrolling for the course, or whatever it
And
is.
there can be an annoying aspect
Yeah.
because the minute you view something, next minute it's all over wherever you're searching.
Yeah, but I mean, the next level then of the AI would be to be able to sort of work out the ambient noise, right? Us chatting about, I don't know, politics in general, because it's
Yeah.
an election season, and then having stuff that's really targeted to you, like you said, you having an issue with dry hands because you've been in a plane for 3 hours or whatever, and then going, oh, she wants this, as opposed to just having a conversation
Correct.
around it. For me, that's absolutely integral, especially when we start looking then at us who do the content creation. We're able to also mine data from our audiences and then figure out what are the kind of things that they will appeal to. Now, I'll give you an example, Stephanie. I was doing a content piece where I tried a different style of content, like as in how I execute the content, and I was at pains to find if this would resonate with my people, the style of using still images as opposed to video. So
And?
many still images,
Yes.
to tell a story as opposed to video. And even now the jury's out because I'm yet to post the content. But I would have loved to have the insight of like an AI to say to me, actually, the likelihood of your people actually liking this would be 1, 2, 3, and 4, and maybe not. So it's absolutely fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
You're reaching
Well-
the correct
Pardon?
You're reaching the correct audience.
Oh,
for
please,
sure.
we need that. Well, this is what we do the work for. But then the next step is wondering then, what is the correlation between AI and creativity? Because we've always been worried about AI. If it's able to mine all the data, will it take my job? But the real question is, will it be able to be as creative as a human?
Um, It honestly depends, but at the moment where it stands, because it's learning so much on what we've given it, its ability to think outside of the box is limited to how we think of creativity.
Got
But
you.
mean that we can't use it for inspiration, because that's what a lot of people do. If they need inspiration, they would go, say, for example, on ChatGPT or any other image generated, AI generated images. They would go to these platforms and they would have an idea and they say, Chat, give me an idea of what I can use for so and so, maybe even a blog. And they would give a list of topics. This would automatically cause us to think outside of the box. It might not do it
Yes.
for us, but we can start building onto that. So the idea is the fact that it can give us all of this information and persuade a little bit, and just so that we could use some of that information to create something that never existed before.
I'm interested to see where this goes in the next 5 years, 2 years even. I think it's going to be quite wild.
I think I definitely had a very big misconception about
Did
AI.
you?
I really thought that it was almost an autonomous, standalone thinking
Okay.
program, whatever it is. And I think it's because of how it's executed, how the interface is. Because if you go to ChatGPT and you say, please draft a eating plan for someone who's this high, who's this tall, this heavy, and who wants to gain, lose, whatever weight, and then it then gets all the data and puts it together for you. In my mind, that was something that can't be done by a human being. But what I'm realizing now is that all the advantage it has is that it can mine through a lot of data, which if I had time, chances are I'd be able to do the same. And I think where the future for me, and this is what I'm interested in finding out from you, Stephanie, when I look at the future, considering our conversation today, it looks like we will be able to integrate it in how we work. So when we need to do mining of data, finding out how things are, getting inspiration, we can almost ask it specifically to just give us the relevant stuff.
Exactly.
And then we can deal with that as opposed to going, here's all the data in the world and we spend, because that's what PhDs are made of. Literally a PhD is you sifting through all the work that has ever been done before for you to bring up a novel thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. But what in your view is the future of AI looking like, Stephanie?
Well, it's definitely very bright. I mean, especially with evolving of analytics, algorithms, automation software even, like algorithms, for example, are improving all the time. They're more sophisticated. Each time there's a release, it's actually improved more than double. It's not even by increments. It's moving so fast. But as time goes on, there will be more advanced, more precise real-time data, and it will make everything more reliable. But also, it takes us back to what we were talking about it being ethical. I think a lot of people want to see.
How far does it go?
Yeah.
Where AI is headed in the future, they want to see the growing emphasis on AI, but it being ethical. A lot of the focus needs to be ensuring that it's transparent, it's fair, it holds accountability. It's not only just relying on information that it is given, but it can also output information that we have maybe not thought of before.
Interesting.
And that's the character of uniqueness, because we want it to be personalized. We don't want it to feel like it is copying someone whose hard-earned work.
Absolutely.
To just branch on. But that's the thing why AI is important. We need to understand that we should be using it in a fair way. In a sense, I'm saying that once we use AI to think outside the box and use it to our advantage to give us inspiration, but to branch it out and come up with ideas that are unique, and that's it. And I think over time, AI will be able to think for itself and eliminate those possibilities of copywriting, you know?
Yeah, I'm hoping that the legislation will develop as quickly as AI is. I
Very,
think,
very interesting topic there.
which is what I think the big issue
Cannot
about
keep up.
Cannot keep up, and
Yeah.
this is a fight we've always had about
Yeah.
jurisprudence, is that it develops over such a slow. The rate of development is so slow that by the time we get to 5, 6, 7 years into development of AI and it getting better and better and better, because we need to ask about things like identity theft, right? Forget about being able to use your artwork, but what about your likeness, your face? We could have AI generated your face onto this call and feed you whatever we want you to say. But also, what does that do? Especially because more and more of our world is becoming digital. I mean, how many virtual meetings do you have in a day?
Of course. But then and there's the ethical, legal side. There's the authentic side, and keeping that authenticity. It's how do we balance that?
It's really crazy. I mean, I saw a video 2 days ago where there was a lady who was chatting, and she's a fitness influencer, and she was chatting about how so much of the content that they do in fitness is actually the video is altered, so the body shape is you think flat stomach, hips and all of that, and it's very different to what they look like, really. So for me, that's really intense. And I think maybe in my parting shot is to ask, will we be able to keep up with the development of AI? There's so much happening in the world that sometimes we're just starting to understand it as a country. Do you think that South Africa is at a place where we're ready to be part of the AI world, or are we just so far behind that it's going to take us generations to get there?
A lot of the time people don't realize how AI has already taken over. I thought
That's
it was
true.
very funny when you're talking about Tesla being self-driving and everything, but little did you think about the plane that you were in that's on autopilot. So that a lot of people don't think about certain things in their day-to-day life that has already been automated.
So true.
And so where it will take a gradual approach to getting there, it's not going to displace people in the workplace, and it's more likely to actually create jobs more than anything. But
Interesting.
I think it's for a lot of people to realize that AI should be used alongside their workforce to help with tasks so that they can collaborate on more strategic approaches and so on. The thing that AI shouldn't really be doing. It's more to help with the everyday things. But it's like a video killing the radio star situation.
Yeah.
Things are the way that wheels have improved, the way that we do things in society, the way that we're able to move forward. It's the exact same thing. So we will learn to evolve and get in the now, and the people who don't will be left behind. It's just how it's always been. It's just how it will be, So I understand why there's worry around the topic, but it's the future and we are already a part of it. Most people just don't realize it.
My key takeout is definitely to learn to collaborate with AI. It's not either or, it's collaborating and using it to the best that you can to enhance what one needs to do in whatever industry and whatever field. And Steph, you have given us such amazing insight.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I hope our audience has enjoyed hearing just even a little bit of what the possibilities are with AI, and you've learned a lot too.
I've definitely learned a lot, and hopefully in season 3 we can bring you in and have a wide-ranging conversation around some of the more granular details about AI. But very, very thank you for your time and your very deep expertise. And that is actually Stephanie. It's not an AI-generated image. She was actually on the call with us. And Tammy, that is it. That is the last episode of the season.
2, guys. Steph, thank you so much for joining us today for our final episode. And Leroy, thank you for being absolutely awesome.
You know what, I am awesome sometimes, but don't forget you can still like, comment, and subscribe. Please let us know what you think about the topics we're chatting about today on the show in the comment below, and see all the other videos that we set up that we put on together while we strategize on season 3. We want you to still be in the know so that your business can make some influence and some rands and cents. And for the last time, I am Leroy Mark.
I'm Tammy Rashid.
And we'll see you next time.